Namaste and welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga on this last day of autumn 2023. If you are with us in the northern hemisphere, my name is Michelle Chua, and for this practice, you may want to have 2 blocks and a strap. Let's begin in any comfortable way to sit. You might choose to sit on a couple of your blocks side by side and elevate your pelvis higher than your knees if you are sitting cross-legged, allowing the knees to drop down more easily. So why have rituals as we move from one season to another? Tomorrow here is winter solstice, officially the first day of winter. Here's what Rebecca Campbell says in her book, Rise, Sister, Rise, a guide to unleashing the wise, wild woman within. The earth is sentient. As it breathes in and out, the whole planet does too. It has its own heartbeat, its own natural rhythm in the form of seasons. As the trees release their leaves, we are prompted to let go too. The way the modern world has developed has resulted in so many of us becoming disconnected from the subtle shifts in rhythm that the seasons bring, disconnecting ourselves little by little from the heartbeat of the planet and thus the flow of life. So many of us spend our days in brightly lit offices with the temperature set all year round, our bodies missing out on their daily dose of natural light and the balancing touch of raw earth beneath our feet. Don't overlook the powerful effect seasonal awareness and the earth's touch has in bringing your body back to flow. Nature and its seasons are waiting at the ready to bring us back into harmony with ourselves, the earth, and the universe at large. Develop a relationship with the changing seasons around you. Notice the hope and inspiration of spring, the celebration, rising, and outward connection of summer, the falling away and letting go of autumn, and the replenishment, clarity, rest, surrendering, and potency of winter. Our theme today physically is going to be folding inward, tuning inward, often called forward folds, bringing some flexion in the hips. So I invite you to bring a sense of reflection as we're culminating one season and transitioning to the next which draws us more inward into sort of a hibernation from being out and about and more of a tuning in and slowing down. What are you shedding as you move from fall to winter? Let's begin by checking in. As your body sits still, become more aware of the sensations in it. Observing and withholding judgment as you do. Just being more present with what is. Sense the quality of the breath. Noticing how you feel energetically. Notice the state of your mind right now. Is it letting you know of any emotions present? Allow a deeper breath. And then let it go. Maybe sigh it out, breath by breath, slowing down. Letting it take its time, expanding in your body, moving through it, and releasing. What is something that you can count as a blessing in these past few months of fall season? What are you grateful for? And what might you be ready to set intention to let go of in order to create space for what winter brings? I invite you to clarify your intention for today's practice. Call to mind anyone, a community, or a cause that you would like to recognize and offer loving kindness through your practice today. Let's set our intentions and dedications while opening the space with resonance, chanting Om 3 times. Allow a deep breath in. Let's begin the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, victorious breathing. So as you close the lips, softly narrow the back of your throat. Invite a whispering sound that you can listen to throughout your physical yoga practice. Let that sound be a slow, mindful inhalation matched with an equally slow, mindful exhalation, creating a rhythm that will move our bodies to as we practice surrendering to flow. Let's come on down to hands and knees and begin warming up the spine, neck, and shoulders. So step your hands at the top of your mat with fingers spread wide. Stack your shoulders over your wrists and step your knees a couple inches behind the hips. Tuck your toes, lift your hips back, entering downward facing dog. Here, let your head drop. Rotate your outer upper arms towards the floor. Draw your shoulders and hips high and back, firming the belly in towards your spine. Press the fronts of your thigh bones back and let your heels sink deeper and deeper towards the earth. Steady your gaze, your drishti on one spot, and tune into another 2 slow breaths. Listen to that whisper at the back of your throat. Inhale, raise the right leg behind you. And as you exhale, bend your right knee, turn out your right thigh bone at the hip. Inhaling, tack your left outer hip back. And as you exhale, slowly bend your right knee towards your nose. Contract your abdomen, round the back, and step your right foot gently beside your right thumb. Come high on your fingertips and lower your left knee. Keep your left toes tucked in a kneeling lunge. Now, if your shoulders are hunching over here, take your blocks and place them at the height that you need to be able to relax your shoulders and breathe easily, lengthening your neck. So breathe in, keep your feet where they are, gaze up, and exhale, lift your left knee and begin to draw your right outer hip back, straightening the front leg just the degree that you can bow forward as if you have a flat back. Let's go in and out. Inhale, kneeling lunge, gaze up. Exhale, pyramid pose, bow forward. To your breath, 3 more cycles. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Inhale, lunge. Plant your hands, step back to downward facing duck. Pause for 2 deep breaths. Let your body be still as you lift the hips high. Rotate the triceps towards the ground, relax the neck, and firm your belly in towards the spine. Long spine. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your left knee and rotate the thigh open at the hip. Inhale, tack your right outer hip back. Exhale, bend the left knee towards your nose. Engage your abdomen, round forward into plank. Softly step the foot beside your left thumb, lower your right knee. Fingertips on the ground or on blocks, right beneath your shoulders, where your shoulders can relax down as you gaze up. Keep your right toes tucked. Inhale here. Exhale, lift the right knee and draw the left outer hip back towards straightening the left leg as you bow. Like you have a flat back. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose. Inhale. And exhale. This time, come into a high lunge. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step the right foot hips distance from the left, forward fold. You might place the blocks in front of your feet to press your hands into. Maybe slightly bend the knees. Shift your weight as far forward as you can balance. Firm in the abdomen. Inhale, stretch the crown of your head forward and glide your shoulder blades back. Lengthen the sides of your torso in half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. Root down to your feet. Inhale, sweep the arms forward, rising all the way up into a gentle standing back bend in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, trace your palms in prayer from your crown to your heart center in Padasana. Come back to the feeling tone of your intention for today's practice. Offering gratitude to the sun. Let's begin sun salutation. A. Inhale, sweep the arms forward and overhead. Exhale, hinge forward. Press your fingertips on your blocks of the floor. Inhale, lengthen forward. Step back to plank pose. And on this first round, exhale, lower your knees. Then lower your chest, firming in the belly. Hug the elbows to the ribs. Lower your chin in Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward, root the tops of the feet down. In Cobra, hug your elbows close to your ribs and draw the shoulder heads back. Exhale, downward facing duck. Pause for 3 breaths, steadying your gaze. When you've emptied the 3rd breath, walk or lightly jump to the top of your mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Press with your fingertips and lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to Urdhva Hastasana, gently coiling your chest up. Exhale, hands together in mountain pose. Let's continue 2 more rounds of Surya Namaskar. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step back to plank and either lower knees, chest, chin again, or this time Chaturanga, gliding forward. Raise your elbows by your ribs. Inhaling into Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Cultivate stillness for 3 deep breaths. Just as we're bringing mindfulness to how we transition seasons, let's bring that mindfulness into how we transition between postures. Bend the knees and look forward. Empty the breath. Then walk or lightly jump. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, forward fold. Root down, inhale, rise up. Exhale, gather your palms in prayer at the heart. Once more, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step back and lower in your way through your Vinyasa. Keep going. Pausing in downward dog for 3 deep breaths. So let's pause here. And as you breathe in, keep your hips leveled. Raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, bend your right knee again, high towards your nose. Engage your belly so you can softly step the foot beside your right thumb. Entering a high lunge, inhale, rise up to crescent pose. Direct your tailbone downward, pelvic bowl upright. Square your 2 hips to evenly face your front wall as you bend the front knee right over the heel. Lengthen through the center of your spine and relax the shoulders down, steadying your gaze while softening your eyes. Spin your left heel to the earth and turn to your left in Warrior Two, aligning your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot. Steady your gaze just past your right fingertips. Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten your right leg and glide your hips sideways towards your back wall. Lengthen your torso towards your front wall, entering triangle pose. Lower your right fingertips on your right leg or just to the right of it on a block or the floor where you can stack your shoulders and wrists in one straight line. Keep tacking your right hip crease back towards your left outer heel while lengthening the top of your head forward, sending the shoulder blades down the back. Rotate your chest slightly to face the sky and direct your gaze at one point. A few more breaths. Trikonasana. Gaze down just ahead of your right toes and keep the breath steady. Half moon pose. Walk your right hand upper right corner of your right pinky toe on a block of the ground. Drag your left foot in and flex it off the floor about the height of your hip. Turn your chest to face the left wall, restacking your shoulders over your right wrist. Once again, steady your eyes. Hear the sound of your breathing, cultivating a feeling of balance. Softly step your left foot back, aligning heel to arch. Flip the right palm to face up. Keep the right knee bent. Inhale to peaceful warrior. Exhale, windmill your hands to the ground and take it through your vinyasa or cat-cow a couple of rounds. Downward facing dog. Keep your 2 hips balanced in height. As you inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, bend the knee high towards your nose, rounding forward. Step the foot quietly beside your left thumb. Stay on the ball of your right foot. Inhale, rise to crescent lunge. So direct your tailbone downward. Square both hips to face the front wall. Relaxing your shoulders, long spine. Steady your gaze and relax your eyes. Spin your right heel down and align left heel to arch of right foot entering warrior two. Steady gaze just past your left fingertips here. Virabhadrasana 2. Straighten your left leg for triangle. Glide your hips towards your rear wall, lengthen your torso towards the front wall, and lower your left hand on your left leg or just to the left of it. On a block of the floor, stacking your shoulders over your left wrist. Keep drawing your left hip crease back towards your right outer heel. As you lengthen the top of your head towards the front wall, send the shoulder blades down your back and spin your chest slightly to face the sky. Directing your gaze at one spot for a few more breaths. Trikonasana. Half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. Gaze down ahead of your left toes and steady your breathing. Walk your left hand upper left corner of your left pinky toe on a block of the floor. Drag the right foot forward and flex it off the ground about the height of that hip. Turn your chest to face the right wall and tack your left hip crease back towards your right heel. Just like triangle pose. A few more deep breaths. Take your time stepping back to warrior two. Keeping your left knee bent, flip your left palm to face up. Inhale to peaceful warrior, side bending towards the rear wall. Exhale your hands to the floor and continue down into your vinyasa or a few rounds of cat-cow. Downward facing dog, let's pause. Observe what's here now, physically, in your body, in your mind, in your energy. 2 more deep breaths. Walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to the heart. And let's continue with sun salutation B, Surya Namaskar B. We'll go right into breath-led movement. Let's prepare for chair pose by stepping your feet together so that the inner edges of your big toes touch. And then empty this breath. Inhale, sit low in Utkatasana, chair pose, leaning back towards your heels. Exhale, shift forward and bow from your hips, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen to Ardha Uttanasana. Step back or float to Chaturanga. Insert your Vinyasa here. Downward facing dog. Keep your hips leveled. Inhale, raise your right leg back. Exhale, step the foot beside your right thumb and spin the left heel down for warrior one. Inhale, rise to stand. Ride your exhalation down and continue through your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg back. Exhale the foot beside your left thumb, spin your right heel down. Inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your Vinyasa. Downward facing, pause and observe for 3 slow breaths. When you've emptied the third, walk or float to the top of your mat, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, hands in prayer and mountain pose. One more time. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step or float, continue through your Vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise the right leg back. Exhale your foot beside right thumb, left heel down. Inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower Vinyasa. Downward dog. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale the foot beside your left thumb, lower your right heel. Inhale, rise to Warrior 1. Exhale, lower Vinyasa. Once again, pause, observe, and rebalance the breath. Then walk or float to the front of your mat. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, rise up. Let's step the feet apart, hips distance, parallel, and bring your hands to your hips. Draw your shoulder heads back, breathe in and lift your heart. Exhale, start to hinge from your hips. Cultivate the feeling of a flat back, bending your knees if it starts to round to prevent rounding. Lifting your toes, let's come into Padahastasana to stretch the outer wrists. Slip your palms face up under the soles of your feet. Try to get your toes to meet the inner creases of your wrists. Inhale, lift your chest through your upper arms, gliding your shoulders back. Exhale, hinge from the hips, dropping your head freely. Let's stay a few breaths. You might shake and nod your head or flutter your lips to relax your jaw and neck. Lift your shoulder bones away from your neck as you drop the head down. You might be able to bend the elbows apart and do this. Then slip the palms out from underneath. Bend your knees and reach the hands behind you to clasp or hold a strap between the hands. Inhale, lift your chest forward. Exhale, fold into your right leg, straightening just the right leg. Bend the left knee generously and lean forward. Relax the neck and stretch the arms away from your lower back. Lift the shoulders away from your neck. Breathe here. Bend both knees, lower your torso at center, and maybe switch the interlacing of thumb and index finger on top. Inhale, lift the chest forward. Straighten the left leg, and exhale, lean to the outside of it as you bend the right knee generously. Drop the head, relax the neck. Deep breaths. Keep stretching the arms forward, lifting the shoulders away from the neck. And then release both arms and take your blocks. Place them outside your heels at their tallest height. Bring your hands to your hips and point your elbows to the sky. Inhale, lead with your chest and slowly rise. Step your left foot back 2/3 as far as you did in Warrior One. Keeping your legs straight and both feet entirely on the ground with each in their separate lane, wide enough apart so your hips can easily square forward. Engage the front muscles of your thighs without locking your knees. Engage your belly. Let's prepare for twisting triangle. You might keep the right hand on your right hip just to make sure the pelvis doesn't turn to the left. Raise your left arm and inhale, bow forward until your spine is about parallel to the ground. Lower the left hand on the left side of your front foot on a block of the floor. Now keep your pelvis still, and it might help to place a block across the widest width of the lowest part of your lower back to make sure the pelvis doesn't turn as you turn your rib cage to the right. Eventually raising the right arm up, Parita Trikonasana. With each in-breath, firm down through your feet and stretch your spine further down the midline of your mat, shoulder blades moving down the back. And with each exhale, hug your outer hip still and continue to turn the rib cage. Now, if your balance feels pretty stable and you want to go further, you can place the left hand on the right side of your front foot. Let's tune into a few more breaths as you steady your gaze. Now remove the block from your lower back if it's there and lower your fingertips on blocks of the floor to frame your right leg. Now, if your right hamstring feels pretty open right now, you could lift the ball of your right foot and flex it to go deeper. Inhale, lift your chest forward. Keep squaring the hips, firm in the belly and hinge with each breath out. Pyramid pose, Parsvottanasana. Set the right foot down. Inhale, walk the hands forward a foot in front of your right toes and lift the left leg. Now try to keep your hips level. Turn the left outer hip down, flex the left foot, and tack the right outer hip back. Inhale again, stretch your chest forward. Standing splits, exhale, bow towards your right shin, keeping the hips squared as you lift the left leg. If your balance feels pretty stable, you could walk the hands back closer to your standing foot. You might also wrap an arm or two around that leg. Relax your neck here. Set the left foot hips distance from the right, forward fold. Bring your blocks back to frame your outer heels and bend your knees. Drop your arms and spine. Inhale, slowly roll up to stand. Drop the shoulders back. Side two. Step your right foot back 2/3 as far as you did in Warrior One. And spin the heel down. Keep your legs straight and your hips squared forward. Engage your quadriceps and your abdomen, and maybe leave the left hand on the left outer hip. Raise the right arm, and inhale, lengthen your spine forward, about parallel to the ground. Lower the right hand on the right side of your front foot on a block of the floor, and maybe place a block to balance wide across the lowest part of your lower back, more like your pelvis. Inhale as you root the feet down and stretch the top of your head forward. Exhale as you keep the pelvis still and rotate the rib cage to the left, raising the left arm in twisting triangle pose. Parita Trikonasana. Now, if your balance feels pretty steady and you want to go deeper into the twist, you can place the right hand on the left side of your front foot. Find a point to steady your gaze at. Tune into your breath. Remove the block from your lower back if it's there, and place your hands a foot in front of your left foot on blocks of the floor. shift forward, keep your hips leveled, and raise the right leg behind you, flexing your right foot. Inhale, reach your chest forward. Exhale, keep your hips squared as you bow towards your left shin in standing splits. Now you might walk your hands closer to your left leg. You might wrap an arm or two around it. Let your head relax down, softening the back of your neck. This time, step the right foot all the way to the rear of your mat. Grab your blocks and walk them on the ground to your right, pivoting to face the wide width of your mat with feet parallel to each other for a wide-legged forward fold. Now, some of you might find you don't need to have blocks here. Your spine is not round and you can place the hands on the ground. Then go ahead and do that. Press your hands down and inhale, draw your heart forward through the gates of your arms. Little by little, hinge from your hips. Now shift your weight forward far enough where you can see that your pelvis is aligned with your ankles rather than behind your ankles. This helps to support the hamstrings and not overstretch them. You can bend your knees any amount to make sure that your back feels like it's flat, not rounded. As you press the hands down, lift the shoulders up, create space in your neck. So there are different options of how to practice Prasarita Padottanasana. You can walk the hands back. You can move into headstand if that's part of your practice. You could clasp your big toes with your peace fingers and bend the elbows apart as you fold further. Let's tune into another 5 deep breaths in this wide-legged forward fold or your version of it. Those of you practicing headstand, remember to press the hands down and lift the shoulders up, creating space in your neck. With feet both on the ground, taking your time with that. Inhale, lengthen forward again. Walk your hands to the front of your mat, pivot to face the front in a lunge. Lower your right knee to the floor into a kneeling lunge. Let's continue with our forward folds in Hanumanasana, half or full split. So you might have blocks under your hands here. Lift the ball of your left foot flexed and start to straighten the left leg by plugging the thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket while you draw your chest forward. Long spine, shoulders relaxed, throat open, firming the belly in as you fold forward. Now, if you feel like your left hamstring is pretty warm by now, you could tuck the right toes to move towards full Hanumanasana. Tucking the right toes helps to ensure that you continue to square your hips to evenly face forward, not turning out either leg. Now, you can use a block underneath your left hamstring like this, which then frees up your hands so that you can hold your hips to square them forward or to raise the arms in Victory Mudra, where you interlace the fingers except the index. You could also, if you make it to Hanumanasana as well, you can fold forward, maybe holding the left wrist with the right hand. Let's tune into another 5 deep breaths in your variation of Hanumanasana. Taking your time to be mindful as you transition out of the pose, really important to prevent injury. Walk your hands closer to your hips where you have more stability, and breath by breath, drag your left heel back, stepping the left knee behind you, coming into tabletop. Once there, step the right foot forward inside of your right thumb, on the inner side of it, into a kneeling lunge. Hands on blocks to the floor. Lift the ball of your right foot flex and plug the right thigh bone back while drawing your chest forward. Engage the belly, breath by breath, hinging forward in Ardha Hanumanasana, which means half split. Or if your right hamstring is warm enough here, tuck the left toes and also be mindful in how you transition to the depth of your pose towards Hanumanasana. You might place a block under your right hamstring, use the hands to help square the hips. You might continue into a forward fold, maybe holding the right wrist with the left hand this time. Let's tune into another 5 deep breaths where you are. And slowly, let's meet on our bellies, lying on the ground, face down. Entering our final back bends, beginning in bow pose. Let's take 2 rounds of bow, Dhanurasana. Bending your knees, and this is a great counterbalance to our forward folds, which stretches the back muscles of the legs and the back quite a bit. Back bends actually contract the muscles in the back, including the hamstrings. So bend your knees, reach for your outer feet or inner feet. Bring the knees close together, press your pubic bone into the ground, and then kick your feet into your hands as you pull your feet towards you, drawing your shoulders back, lifting the knees. Make sure the knees are not wider apart than your hips distance. Count 5 to 7 breaths before you let this pose go. Now, if you're working with any lower back pain, I invite you not to hold your feet and instead to keep your legs straight on the floor and clasp the hands like this and bound locust pose. Once you've let it go, let your whole body relax, resting in stillness for 2 to 3 breaths. Round 2 of bound locust or bow. Take it on your own for 5 to 10 breaths. You might windshield wiper your shins once you've arrived to rest. Let's press back into child's pose, pausing a few breaths there. Feet together, touching, knees together or apart. Extend your arms forward to actively stretch your lower back. Then walk your hands towards your knees and inhale, slowly roll your spine upright. Bringing your legs in front of you, let's set up for a seated twist. Extend your left leg forward and step your right foot on the ground in front of your right hip or crossed outside of your left knee, where you might also bend the left knee. Choose the setup that allows you to sit tall and evenly ground your 2 sitting bones. Place the right hand behind your pelvis, raise your left arm. Press into the ground and inhale, sit up a little taller. Keep your shoulders relaxed and pelvis still. Exhale, begin twisting to your right. Lower your left arm to hold your right leg or hook your elbow outside of that thigh. A few more breaths. Unwind from your twist, cross your right shin over your left shin or in front of it, where you could either sit cross-legged in a hip opener or double pigeon, stacking your knees and ankles while flexing your feet to stabilize the knees. Ground your sitting bones again, sit tall, lifting your chest, and little by little hinge forward from your hips. press your pelvis down and breathe in to slowly rise up. Stretch your legs forward. Let's set up for side two in the twist. Similarly, if you can, as you did on the first side. Step your left foot on the ground in front of the hip or cross the foot outside your right knee. Maybe bend the right knee too. Place your left hand behind your pelvis and raise your right arm. Root down to rise up as you inhale. Twist across your waistline to the left as you exhale. Lower your right hand to hold your leg or hook your elbow outside the thigh and keep breathing, lengthening and twisting. As you breathe out, unwind from your twist and cross the left shin forward or on top of the right shin, either sitting cross-legged or stacking your ankles and knees in double pigeon, where you want to make sure to flex your feet. Ground your sitting bones, lift up to your chest, breathe in. As you exhale, hinge from your hips little by little. Just lead with your chest and inhale to rise. Let's find a comfortable seat for breath work before we lower down towards corpse pose. I'll invite you into a grounding, calming practice of box breathing, or in Sanskrit, Samavriti Pranayama. You might, as we practice this, place your hands in a grounding mudra, which is bringing the thumb and index fingers to touch and resting the palms face down on your lap. And you might also close your eyes. So closing the lips too, we'll breathe in and out through the nose, inhaling for a count of 4, holding the breath for a count of 4. Exhaling for a count of 4 and holding the breath for a count of 4. Let's practice that for 3 times together, so 3 cycles, and then continue 3 cycles on your own. Try to hold the breath in the most relaxed way possible. So let's prepare to begin by emptying this breath. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Second cycle, inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Third cycle, inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. Continue 3 more cycles. When you do finish, breathe naturally and observe how you feel. Start to lower down onto your back, lying down on the floor. You might take a moment if you need to come into happy baby or draw your knees together as you arrive there. Before you splay your feet apart on the ground, wider apart than hips distance. And maybe slide the arms slightly away from the thighs as you turn the palms up and rest the shoulders down away from the neck. And closing your eyes, breathing naturally, observing with full presence, Shavasana. start to move your body, just check in with it for a moment. Scan mentally different parts of your body and notice how you feel now physically. And then taking your time, gently transition from stillness to movement. Wake up your body with easy stretches. Turning over to your right side. Pause there for a few moments and observe your breath just as it is. And notice how you feel now energetically. As you feel ready, slowly rise into a comfortable seat for 5 minutes in meditation. You might rest your palms to stack face up at the center of your lap with thumb tips touching, a gesture of the hands to promote inner balance, mental evenness. And you might also close your eyes, sitting tall, relaxed, alert, grounded. Let's begin our 5 minutes, resting your attention on the feeling of the natural breath coming and going. Letting the breath be your anchor so that if your attention goes astray, falls into a loop of thoughts or something else, as soon as you notice it, you can come back to the feeling of the breath. Notice how your mind and heart feel now at the end of your practice. What is something in this new moment that you can offer gratitude for? I invite you to remind yourself of what your intention is as you transition on this last day of fall into the winter solstice. In what ways are you surrendering to the flow of nature and her cycles to live in harmony? I invite you to imagine to whom you dedicated this practice, visualizing them in some way receiving benefit, support of their well-being. Let's close by chanting Om 3 times. Feel the resonance that you are both giving and receiving. Inhale a little deeper. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.